Okay, so if you're a gamer, chances are you've heard the name fitgirl-repacks. It's this absolute giant in the world of, video game piracy. But what's really fascinating here isn't just what she does, it's the mystery of who she is. And that whole story, well, it starts with a very unexpected public face. Right away, the first clue that something is a little different here is the mascot. You'd expect a skull and crossbones, right? But no. Instead, you get the face of the French actress Audrey Tautou from that really charming film Amélie. It's such a soft, kind of whimsical choice, and it immediately tells you, hey, this isn't your typical shadowy piracy group. And that, of course, brings us to the central mystery. Who is the real Fit Girl? But, before we can even start to piece together the clues about her identity, we really have to get what made her an internet legend to begin with. And that comes down to one very unique skill. See, her entire reputation, everything she's known for, it's all built on just one thing, the art of the repack. This is really the core of the whole Fit Girl phenomenon. And honestly, it's a genuinely clever piece of digital engineering when you get down to it. So what exactly is a repack? Okay, imagine you have this giant, puffy winter coat. A repack is basically like taking that coat and stuffing it into one of those vacuum seal bags, right? You suck all the air out, and suddenly it's a fraction of its original size. It's the same coat, just way, way smaller and a whole lot easier to ship. Well, FitGirl does that, but for video games, which, as you know, can be absolutely massive files. Okay, but here's a really crucial distinction we have to make. FitGirl is not a cracker. She doesn't break the copy protection on games, the DRM. Instead, she takes games that have already been cracked by other groups, and then she works her own kind of magic on them, compressing them into these tiny, super efficient packages for everyone to download. She's a specialist, you see. And you know what's crazy? This massive global operation, it didn't start out as some grand plan for internet fame. Not at all. It actually began as just a simple hobby, one that kind of accidentally grew into an empire. Her whole journey really started quietly, way back in 2012. She was just compressing games for her friends, mostly because the versions she made were smaller than anything else out there. Then, in 2016, she decided to share her first public repack. Fast forward to 2020, and people are calling her the best-known releaser on the internet. And now, by 2024, her site is a global torrent heavyweight. I mean, what a trajectory. All right, so now that we've got the what and the how figured out, let's circle back to that big question we started with. Who is the repack queen, as some people call her? Well, in a pretty rare interview back in 2016, she actually addressed it head-on. She said she was, quote, female and kind of proud of it. And at the time, she claimed she was the only woman in the entire repacking scene, which, if true, makes her a truly unique figure in what is, let's be honest, an incredibly male-dominated world. So what other clues do we have to go on? Not a lot, really. She's claimed to have been born in Russia, but is now based in Latvia. In that same 2016 interview, she mentioned she was in her 20s or 30s at the time, and that she works with computers. It's really not much to go on, is it? But it paints this faint little sketch of the person behind the avatar. And look, while her actual identity is still a total mystery, her impact, oh, that is undeniable. This anonymous repacker has become an absolute titan of the torrent world. No question about it. I mean, the numbers really tell the story here. According to the news site TorrentFreak, her site was already the 9th most popular torrent destination back in 2020. That's huge. But just 4 years later, it climbed all the way up to 6th place in the world. So yeah, this is not some niche little corner of the internet. We're talking about a mainstream hub for millions and millions of users. And here's a really fascinating little detail that just shows you the level of branding that's involved here. When you're installing one of her repacks, you're almost always greeted by the exact same song. It's a track called Solo by an artist named River. Seriously, for a whole generation of gamers, this one track has become the unofficial and super catchy, by the way, soundtrack to installing a new game. So all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? I mean, we live in an age of gigabit internet and instant downloads from stores like Steam. So why on earth is a service that's all about shrinking files more popular than ever? Is it just about things like data caps and slow internet in many parts of the world? Or does it speak to something deeper? Maybe a desire for actual digital ownership in an era where we just buy licenses. That's the really powerful question that Fit Girl's legacy kind of forces all of us to think about.